On February 26, 2026 at 1:48 a.m. EST, Mercury stations retrograde at 22 degrees and 33 minutes of Pisces. This is not just another astrological event to scroll past. This is Mercury's first retrograde of 2026, and it arrives at the end of an already intense month, while we are still deep inside the eclipse window. When I study cycles like this, I don't just look at the dates. I look at the atmosphere, and the atmosphere here is clear. We are being asked to quiet down. Mercury will remain retrograde until March 20th, when it stations direct at 8 degrees and 29 minutes of Pisces. This journey from 22 degrees back to 8 degrees is symbolic. It is a retracing, a returning, a revisiting of emotional, spiritual, and intuitive terrain. Those of us with personal placements in the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces will feel this more personally. Mutable energy is adaptable, sensitive, and responsive. During this retrograde, those with strong mutable placements may feel more attuned to emotional undercurrents in conversations, more sensitive to what is happening in their environment, and more aware of subtle energetic shifts. And that sensitivity is not a weakness, it is information. For many, this retrograde will bring a need to revisit plans, complete unfinished projects, and finally have conversations that were postponed. You may hear from people from your past. You may feel called to reach out yourself. Chapters that were left open may now be asking to close properly. Mercury retrograde is not here to punish you. It is here to refine you. Astronomically, a retrograde happens when a planet appears, from our perspective on Earth, to move backward in the sky. Of course, it is not actually reversing its orbit. It is an optical illusion, created by relative motion. But energetically, symbolically, astrologically, it is incredibly meaningful. Retrogrades shift us from external momentum to internal review. They are periods of reorientation, redirection, revision, and reflection. Instead of pushing forward blindly, we are invited to pause and reassess why we are going where we are going. Mercury governs communication, rational thinking, transportation, problem-solving, learning, daily planning, and how we collect and organize information. During its retrograde, these areas often require refinement rather than initiation. This is not typically the best time to launch something brand new without reflection. It is, however, an incredibly powerful time to edit, revise, reorganize, and clarify. Yes, Mercury retrograde has gained a reputation. People blame it for technology breakdowns, delayed flights, misunderstandings, and crossed wires in communication. And while disruptions can happen, reducing it to chaos misses the deeper purpose. Retrogrades accelerate evolution. They slow us down just enough to notice what we have been ignoring. They invite critical thinking. They encourage alternative solutions. They force us to see problems from a new angle rather than reacting from habit. Now place that retrograde in Pisces. Pisces is not linear. Pisces is not rigid. Pisces dissolves boundaries. It speaks through dreams, symbols, sensations, music, intuition, and subtle emotional waves. When Mercury moves retrograde in Pisces, the focus shifts from external conversations to internal dialogue. It shifts from debating others to listening to the whisper of your own soul. This transits offers rigid mental frameworks. If you have been clinging to one way of thinking, one narrative, one storyline about your life, this retrograde may gently dissolve that structure. Your mind may feel less interested in analysis and more drawn toward intuition. You may find yourself paying more attention to dreams, synchronicities, and emotional impressions. Non-verbal communication becomes louder, energy speaks. Mercury in Pisces asks, how do you speak with the universe? How do you interpret signs? How do you listen when logic is not the language being used? On February 28th, retrograde Mercury forms a conjunction with Venus in Pisces. This is a softening influence. Venus brings themes of love, relationships, values, self-worth, and harmony. Conversations during this time can be healing. Apologies may be offered. Forgiveness may be extended. Old relationships may resurface for closure. There is a beautiful opportunity here for compassionate dialogue, but discernment is essential. Pisces can idealize, it can romanticize, it can avoid uncomfortable truths in the name of peace. The Mercury-Venus conjunction supports empathy and diplomacy, but it also requires grounding. Compassion does not mean bypassing reality. Healing conversations require honesty. Then on March 7th, retrograde Mercury meets the Sun at 16 degrees and 52 minutes of Pisces. This alignment is known as the inferior conjunction. It marks the midpoint of Mercury's retrograde journey. In traditional astrology, this is a moment of mental illumination. The Sun shines light on Mercury's review process. Insights can emerge. New ideas can surface. You may suddenly understand why certain disruptions occurred. You may see the lesson that was hidden beneath confusion. This can be a turning point, a moment where the fog begins to lift. Mercury retrograde in Pisces reminds us that confusion is not always negative. Uncertainty is not failure. Sometimes wandering is part of the design. There are moments in life where clarity only comes after we allow ourselves to sit inside ambiguity. This transit teaches us to listen more than we speak, to feel more than we analyze, to trust the divine intelligence unfolding behind the scenes. This is a time to quiet the noise, not just external noise, social media, constant opinions, endless information, but internal noise, the mental loops, the overthinking, the self-criticism. The rigid narratives. Pisces invites surrender. It invites softness. It invites spiritual recalibration. Pay attention to your dreams over the next few weeks. Notice synchronicities. Observe emotional undercurrents in conversations. Notice what feels unresolved. Notice what keeps resurfacing. Mercury retrograde in Pisces does not shout. It whispers. If you move through this transit consciously, it can become a sacred reset. A refinement of how you communicate, a deepening of intuition, a strengthening of your relationship with your inner guidance. You may realize that what felt like confusion was actually an invitation to listen more deeply. This is not about fearing retrograde, it is about using it. And if you are someone who feels highly sensitive during these cycles, if you notice that your energy shifts with the planets, if you recognize that your intuition becomes louder during moments like this, that is not random. That is awareness. That is attunement. If this message resonates with you, share in the comments how this retrograde is already showing up in your life. Are you revisiting old conversations? Are you feeling called to rest? Are your dreams becoming more vivid? I will be reading your reflections, and I love seeing how these collective transits play out uniquely in each of you. If you want deeper guidance on how this Mercury retrograde in Pisces is affecting your personal chart, especially if you have strong mutable placements, I offer one-to-one sessions where we look at your energetic blueprint and how to consciously work with these cycles instead of feeling overwhelmed by them. The link is in my bio. Follow me for grounded, intuitive astrology that goes beyond surface interpretations. Save this video so you can return to it between now and March 20th as the energy unfolds. And remember, this retrograde is not here to block you. It is here to refine you, quiet the noise. Your soul is already speaking. On February